saying ain't nobody can stop me. They better sit back and watch me. For really though. These niggas.
Yo, what is going on, guys? This is Rick here. How you guys doing today? I'm going pretty good. You need to say y'all start really, guys. But anyways, what is going on? How's everybody doing today? We are actually going to be discussing an album, project, whatever you want to call it today. Today, we're actually going to be discussing Travis Scott and Quavo, the Migos project that was released last Friday, entitled Huncho Jack Huncho. Know what it is if you haven't heard it yet. Basically, what Huncho Jack Huncho is, it's a collab project with Travis Scott and Quavo, the Migos, which I just recently mentioned. This was it was released last Friday, I believe the 22nd, and it was hyped up through the entirety of 2017 and even a little bit before in December last year. So it contains a total of 13 tracks with 2 featured artists being Offset and Takeoff of the Migos. And they both lay verses down. Offset's verses on Dubai Shit, and Takeoff does the same with a verse on Eye to Eye. 2 tracks, Lo-Fi and Rerun, were especially highly anticipated tracks, which both received a widespread amount of love and hype through Twitter and Instagram snippets during the creation of the album. Now, these joints didn't make the final cut of the project, which disappointed several fans. However, many of these fans believe that Travis is saving these 2 for Astroworld, since he himself understands the great potential they both hold. I personally haven't heard either of the 2 tracks, as I try my best to avoid the leaks, so this decision really didn't have an effect on me with Huncho Jack's release, but I can say that I'm even more pumped for Astroworld as of right now, since all I hear is good things about it, or at least that's what I've heard. Now for aesthetics overall, how I think of that album, little things like production and those smaller details that add up to the overall experience. One thing I want to say is the production on the project is top notch. Some specifics worth mentioning, on the track Where You From, the western feel of it is incredible, and the melodies from both Travis and Quavo fit it perfect with the beat. The horn and How You Feel is downright hypnotizing, and the flute and Go puts me in rage mode even if I'm reading something for school, like a book or some shit. I mean, that's pretty impressive, alright? The dark sense of Moonrock, I messed that up in the script. The dark sense of Moonrock set a Dark Knight demo sort of tone which resonates incredibly with Travis's voice, and Saint Laurent's epic instrumentation and climactic moments complement both Travis and Quavo's style very nicely. And that's just to name a few aesthetics worth mentioning. Other aesthetics, such as the background echoey style that is in Best Man, like hook up grounds with the left hand, and you can hear like Travis and Quavo in the background. I thought that was dope, as well as the back and forth structure of Huncho Jack, which is the title track, obviously. Now that we've kind of touched base with the positives and what I like about the album thus far, now we're going to get into some scrutination and speculation about the project as a whole. Now, there have been numerous disappointed fans on Twitter whom I've seen discuss repeated melodies and just blandness in general for the whole project. Some examples of that would be the hook of Dubai Shit. I mean, I've seen people say stuff like, oh, it sounds like Drizzy's Gloucester, which was off More Life, his playlist released earlier this year.
Hermes Link, Ice Blue Mink, Dubai Shit, Dubai Whips.
Another one actually being Travis's intro verse and Where You From. People have said that sounds like his intro verse on Nightcrawler from his debut album Rodeo, which was released in late 2015.
Freaks got me geek, energy, suck it out of me.
And I've also seen a few fans mention that Saint sounds like Travis's remix of Vane T.Y.O.'s Uber Everywhere, and that's one of T.Y.O.'s largest hits, released in early mid-2016, if you didn't know. While I can sort of hear the similarities for a couple of these tracks, I don't really let that stand in the way as far as enjoyment goes, and it doesn't really bother me. Fans have also said that they wish there was more Travis influence readily inputted into the project itself, and I absolutely agree with that. I feel like Trav sort of altered his style, the very slightest, to match Quavo on some of these tracks, and other times he did the exact opposite and just went all out, just Trav, which is dope as well, but I would have liked to see more of that just Trav style. Sort of like what you can see in Birds on the Trap and Rodeo. That kind of style, if you know what I'm saying. As far as the features go for this project, I believe that Takeoff takes off with the cake. Alright, I'm gonna give you some more time to digest that. Good? Alright. For his verse on Eye to Eye, obviously. Now, Offset's verse on Do Buy Shit is great, and the transition from Quavo's verse in that song is dope as hell as well, but I personally enjoyed Takeout's verse just a little bit more. And maybe that's because he's my favorite Migo, and I think the Offset can be boring at sometimes, but that's aside from the point. My overall analysis for this project, Huncho Jack Huncho. Overall, I do enjoy listening to the album for what it is, and I think it's great. My listens of the album following my first listen were definitely more enjoyable than the first, for me, and I can definitely say that several tracks have inevitably grown on me very quickly. Tracks like Black and Chinese, Saint Laurent Mask, and Where You From are all splendid cuts I wasn't the biggest fan of when hearing them for the first time. And that goes to show, if you've given the project a listen and you didn't really like it, just give it a second chance. I'm sure you won't be disappointed, or maybe you will. I don't know. I don't know your taste, but just give it a second chance. That's all I'm asking. For me, Huncho Jack Huncho ranks itself as my 4th favorite Travis project, sitting just above Owl Pharaoh and just below Days Before Rodeo. And although I do think it's great, it didn't necessarily blow me away like Birds or Rodeo did. But it's in its own category, as its own separate thing, and I can only thank Trav and Quay for giving us the likes of its goodness when they did. I mean, they could have dropped it next year, but I'm very appreciative of that. That's nice. And I'm also glad they didn't drop it on Christmas. That was dope, too. To answer the question of the title of this video, did this album meet the expectations everybody else set? And I'm going to say yes, the project did meet expectations. And you just need to learn to love it for what it is. I give Huncho Jack Huncho a 7.5 out of 10, and I'm absolutely hyped for Astroworld, if anybody was wondering. Let me know if you liked it, or any opinions you have about the project itself. I'd love to hear them, comment, tweet, whatever. And let me know if you liked what I did in this video. If you think I should do a top 5/top 10 favorite Huncho Jack tracks, I'd love to do that as well. Maybe rank them from my favorite to least favorite, whatever. I'd love to do that too. Thank you guys for watching. I've been Rage Zatter. More content on the way, as always. Peace out.